Instead of Friday morning.
There you go.
Derrick,
Very nice to hear.
Derrick,
Irvin?
Let's see your second.
Yeah. Okay.
This is what we call flipping.
This is what it looks like.
How long is this?
Well, we're over at
segment?
11, so
Well,
we're just,
we're gonna
you
go.
have to slide a
I'm
little
an
bit this
old
way.
guy, so I have to get up and go.
Okay, you let us know.
Slide over so you're on
Slide
camera.
more, we're going to get everybody on camera. Slide on over this way. Ed, can you
Hey,
read the
why
I
don't
can
you
camera?
slide
put
over.
the camera here?
Okay.
I can slide over.
Yes, yes.
We want to get Irvin in here, too,
get
because
close.
Irvin's going to ask you some
All right.
questions.
Closer,
also.
right.
There we go. Look at that.
No
Look at
problem.
that handsome. Look at that
No
handsome
problem.
see you.
I believe in same-sex marriage.
That's all good.
That's a good one. Okay, Mr.
I
Ellis.
actually don't.
We got some questions, and in general, before we get into the questions, what have you been up to in the past, I guess, few months since the last election that you ran, and almost beat Ricker? What have you been up to?
We
since
did
then?
win, but that's another. They stole one, as they say.
You heard
No,
it
wait a
here.
minute. Now that's not. I'm not inferring here that,
Right.
that some hanky-pank happened. I'm saying they stole an election. You know, that's like in a sports analogy when a team come into your home arena and they win.
Okay.
They say they stole one today. So
Okay.
like that, they got away, but not next time.
And there we go.
So are you going to run? Are you saying now?
I am.
That was one of my questions. Are you
But
running for mayor? But
I am running for mayor. But let me get back to your original question.
Okay.
What have I been doing since the last 11, 12 months? Of course, I've been traveling a lot. I represent a firm, Chest Engineers, an international engineering consulting firm. We have projects in Ghana, we have projects in Nigeria, we have projects in Brazil, and just returned from Uganda where we're embarking on a major water project there. So I've been quite busy. I spent 14 days in East Africa, and I just got back 5 days ago. So good to be back home.
That's wonderful.
Good deal.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
Well, I had a question. Now that I know that you're going to run for mayor again, now that Macon and Bibb County has now been consolidated.
Yeah.
Are there any other parts of any other political positions that you want to run for besides mayor? I mean, because I actually earlier one time, like, I mean, don't you think running for mayor is kind of old hat? I mean, they ever thought about going for, like, running for governor or?
Not
state
really,
senator?
man. I won't be mayor as long as Mayor Daley was mayor of Chicago. He was 25 years.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
Wow.
No,
call.
but no, really, I really enjoy being the mayor. I mean, it's one of the best positions, I think, in the city and elected politics. You're close to the people. You're able to get things done. You get that gratification, and even sometimes immediate gratification, because you can make things happen on a daily basis to improve the lives of people. Maybe whether it's moving a dead dog from someone's yard on the street that's been there for 2 or 3 days and Public Works hadn't picked it up, or an overgrown lot that senior citizens complain about. You can make that stuff happen. You can make it go away. And I've always enjoyed that. But it's not just about filling potholes and picking up trash. It's also about improving the overall quality of life of people, trying to make sure that the city is poised to take advantage of the era in which we live, and we're not right now. We are less than 100 miles from the largest economic engine south of Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Georgia.
85 miles away.
So we're in the economic impact zone, but we haven't benefited as much because of some very short-sightedness on the part, primarily Republicans, Tony Perdue, when they would not go ahead and connect Atlanta to Macon with trains. We were on the road to do that when I bought the terminal station in 2000. That was the purpose of buying it. It was designated as a multi-modal facility, and trains would be running. Roy Barnes had agreed we were going to get it done. The S line, the one that runs through Forsyth and Barnesville and Griffin, that would have been up and running now. And if we get connected to Atlanta, Macon, Georgia, 85 miles away, if we get connected to Atlanta, all bets are off in terms, when I get, say, connected, better connected in terms of transportation. And especially rail would be the thing to do it. So we have a lot of, we have to think big, we have a lot of big things to do, and I look forward to being a part of it.
I wish they would have done it 20 years ago. At least Macon would have had Olympic sport
During the
the
Olympics.
96 games.
I remember that. I sat, I wasn't in elected office at the time, but I sat in a meeting at the Bibb County Courthouse with then Mayor Carter and Larry Jessers, who was the chairman of, and the people from the Olympics, because I was a volunteer with the Olympics, then I went on a payroll with the Olympics. So I had the the privilege to be sitting in the room when they were going to bring softball here.
Yes.
Softball was going to
Field,
come
right?
here, and all we had to do was say we're going to build facilities, and that they were going to help us build them, and at the end we'll get them back. But we had to put up some upfront money and they said, well, we don't have the money to do it. And they turned around, went to Columbus, look at Columbus softball facility. The rest is history. Plus, it was an Olympic venue. So we just completely, we were short-sighted. We cut off our nose, as they say, to spite our face.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, let's go back to when you were mayor. I have a few questions with it. As a lot of people around here know, there were a lot of naysayers as far as when Mr. Ellis here was mayor.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was the group that came out that wanted to remove you? Was it Remove Ellis? What was that called? Recall. When you first heard of that, now what was your thought? Your honest initial thought?
Why don't they go find something worthwhile to do?
So you don't think you didn't think they had a leg to stand on?
Of course, I know they did, because the state of Georgia, the laws in the state of Georgia on recall and elected officials is very clear.
Right.
Very clear. You must have violated a law or violated your oath of office.
Right.
And I knew I hadn't done either one.
Right.
So, it's like someone says, hey, man, the police are looking for you, and you just walked in here. You said, well, I know I haven't done anything.
Right.
So
Right.
what's the deal? And the same guy, that's the DUI guy, the judge, was the DA before he became judge.
Howard Sims?
Yeah,
I want to ask you about him.
He spent $1 million investigating my administration. $1 million and turned up with not one iota.
We got
of
a problem
evidence
with
that
him.
Nothing has happened. Plus the fact,
we do have a problem with him.
This, I'm not calling him what I really want to call him. This guy also had Kelly Clark, my then finance director, arrested without an indictment. Put that lady in jail without an indictment. I had to go back to court, get in another court, and they dismissed the charges. And nothing ever come of it. But he never apologized for that. He almost ruined that woman's career. She's now working for the GAO and D.C. and doing quite well, because I told him exactly. She got caught up in this political machine. He wanted to be judge. He believed the hype, the recall and all that other nonsense. He thought there was some there, so he launches an investigation, and he wanted to be right because he wanted to be a judge, so he couldn't be wrong. So he just screwed with people and destroyed people's career to try to become judge, and you see what happened to him.
Right.
As they say.
Yeah.
And my mama used to tell me,
chickens come home to roost.
No, my mom used to say, God doesn't like ugly.
That's right.
That all the time.
Okay, but let me get back to this. So when you came into office as mayor, within I don't know, you probably don't know the exact number. How much was in the coffer, in the money for the city of Macon?
Well,
how much was there?
Exactly what was in there in terms of fund balance.
Right.
Fund balance and cash reserve, two different things.
Right.
But we had cash on hand, approximately $16.8 million.
Okay.
That was there.
Right.
That was in the bank.
Right.
Now that's not against there was certain obligation that money was that had to be allocated.
Right.
Had been allocated for.
Right.
Such like we pay salaries every
month, and
we and only so much money comes in. The only sure money is coming in is property tax, sales taxes. They go up and down. But anyway, that's how much money was there.
16 point. And then when you left, you did 2 terms. Do you know about how much was left?
I know exactly what was there when I left.
What was
$6 million. Let me tell you how did we get.
So
how did we get from 16.9 or 17 million to 6 million?
Right.
We had something what is known as a sales tax renegotiation in 2003.
Right.
In other words, we were getting at that time, the city of Macon was getting 80% of every penny that was collected, all the sales tax that was collected in Macon, Bibb County. We were getting 80%. But because the county had expanded and the economic activities had moved outside of the county city boundaries, we went back, as we were required to do every 10 years, renegotiate sales tax distribution between the city and county. We lost on that one. We lost because I had a city council that agreed to vote for that, which I didn't agree to. My thing was, let's stay at 70%. We went from 80% of the sales taxes being collected to 60% of the sales. And we had to. Let me tell you why we had to take that deal at the end of the day, why I signed it. The state of Georgia laws state that at the end of December of the year that the negotiations taking place, if you don't reach an agreement, you don't get any of the taxes. The state holds all of it. Well, here's the deal. 30% of our budget was based on sales taxes, the city's budget. 10% of the county's budget based on sales tax. So we blink. They played chicken. We blink. We had to, because had I not accepted that deal by 31 December of 02 or 03, whatever it was, we would have gone bankrupt. The city would have gone into receivership. That would have been forced consolidation. That's what Tommy Olmsted wanted to do as the chairman. He had a gun to my head. He wanted consolidation. That would have forced consolidation, because the city would have been bankrupt, would have been insolvent. So consequently, we started spending from the reserves, because we're not getting this 80%, we're getting 60%. So we spent from reserves. What I didn't do, I didn't raise taxes, didn't lay off a person, did not cut services, and left office with $6 million in the bank.
Here we go.
Okay, so the travels, you caught a lot of heat with traveling.
Oh.
Did you find it necessary to constantly leave the city and go to these other places? We before you answer, we had Bobby Gale on here, and Irvin gave Bobby Gale hell about him wanting to keep doing missionary work in Africa.
Yeah,
and such and
well,
such.
I was talking about
Well,
how
I think
And my thing is, if you were mayor again, or if you were one of the county commissioners, my point is, if you became mayor again, I mean, would you still make these trips out of Macon instead of working in Macon, or would you be working more out of Macon?
Well,
I think that's one of the problems people have too.
The misperception was that I went to Africa and spent a lot of money going to Africa. I did go to Africa, but I also went to Europe.
Right.
Also with Asia. I went to Sister City in Kobe, Japan 3 times. You never heard anything about it. I went to Macon, France, which I was invited 2 times. Two times they paid, and took a basketball team, a young youth basketball team, won the European Cup. People didn't pay attention to that, but yet Little Leaguers from Warner Robins win, and it's all over the news. But I understand that. I understand the environment in which I. But to answer your question, I think there are some trips that's worthwhile. Thank God that we have a relationship now with the country of Ghana. Our sister city, Elmina, that I established while I was in office, they have just discovered 15 billion barrels of oil in that province where that city is located. They are pumping oil now. That city now, because of my relationship, that country, they're getting ready to buy all kind of school buses from Bluebird Body, because they have a host of money. They are buying chickens like crazy, and we're trying to get them to buy chickens. I was just there in July. We're trying to get them to buy chicken from Purdue or whoever that sells these chickens, because they're importing, because they have their cash reserves is astronomical. This is the place used to be called the Gold Coast when it was a British colony, and of course they raped all the gold of it. But thank God they have oil. So now the country. So what I'm saying is that there's a need to have relationships with some places. But will I go as much as I did before? I will only go if I think it's in the best interest of a relationship that should be developed, or it's something. For instance, I went to the 50th anniversary of the independence of Ghana. What's the significance of that? Ghana was the first country on the continent to receive its independence in 57. But beyond that, Ghana is a place where 2 slave ports, that's where President Obama went when he first went to Ghana, the place where 8 million Africans were shipped to Georgia, South Carolina, the Caribbean, and of course we are descendants. So we are a city of 65% African American. Why wouldn't we have a relationship with a city that culturally and you know, from an ethnicity standpoint, that we are tied to, just as we have. Yes, just as we have sister cities with Macon, France, and because of the name, and Krobe because of YKK, we have a sister city with Ghana because of our cultural ties.
One of our chatters here said reserves. Government's not supposed to hoard reserves. In reply to what you said, verbal bite. He's questioning what you said about reserves.
They're supposed to hoard them?
Yeah, go back up, Derrick. H-O-A-R-D. He said, he go back up. He'll give you the exact words. Right here, he says, reserves, government's not supposed to hoard reserve funds.
Well, I don't agree with it, but if I understand the question, why do people build big reserve? That's hoarding to me when you hold on to something. So why do you build? Now, you might say you're not supposed to raise reserves. That's taking money out. But we do have a provision. The law states that we can spend from reserve. The county commission just balanced their budget this last year on reserves. The school board balanced their budget using reserves. Reserves is what is known as a rainy day fund. So this has become a rainy day. that either I raise taxes, I cut services, or I use reserves. What do? It's just like in your home. If you have a problem at home, you have a leaking roof, and you have money in the bank in your savings account, and you say, okay, I can let my roof leak, or I can repair it, or I can go take out a loan to repair it, or I can take money out of my savings to repair it. We took money out of our savings in order to operate.
Okay. So now the state of the city, you have to admit, is not too well. You agree right now?
I mean, I left it in good shape right now.
Well, but so let me bring this back to you then. But according to you, you went to these countries to bring those countries money to us.
No, not
like
necessarily.
Bluebird.
No. That's a byproduct. The Sister City program that President Eisenhower, Republican by the way, started in 1952,
right,
was never about economic development. It's about people-to-people diplomacy. That's why we have sister cities. It's good if there's an economic development component, like Macon.
But I'm referring to Ghana. You said Ghana was now purchasing.
Yeah, I say, well, Ghana. I'm saying that's a byproduct. Because you have relationships, then other things can happen. But I did not establish because when I established a sister city relationship with Ghana, they didn't even know they had oil. Elmina was a fishing village and a tourist village on the coast of the Atlantic. So they didn't know. But now I'm just saying, because of that relationship, we can get some things done.
Because of the oil, because of the oil that has been discovered, do you think Ghana will be able to have some type of infrastructure or something to have build like automobiles? I mean, Asia have countries like Toyota, like Japan has Toyota, and Korea has Kia.
I don't think so. Most of the manufacturing of automobiles on the continent of Africa takes place in South Africa, and it's very, because of the
it's more industrialized.
Yeah. Okay. South Africa is very industrialized. It's a first world country on a third world continent, basically with some third world components sprinkled in.
I think.
Anthony,
are you continuing the same question?
I want to take a segue here.
I do, but I want to stay on that question because I think what people are wondering and asking is they're wondering where all the money went, and then if, for example, you said you're getting other countries to invest in our city, why isn't that money coming back? You get what I'm saying? If they're purchasing,
I just told you where the money went. The money went from the reserves to pay operating costs because we didn't have as much money coming in sales taxes as we had. So we had a choice to make. The choice would have been to lay people off. I elected not to,
right? Because
I believe in people working. And Mayor Rickett believes he's laying people off. Yet he's spending money at the country club, $500 a month, while he's laying people off. Yeah, I mean, that's not how I operate. I don't have $76 dinners at the most exclusive restaurant while I'm laying people off. I don't do that while I'm raising people's taxes. That's not who I am.
I believe I have some good points of things you did in office, but I do want to commend you on.
But that's where the money went. I mean, there's no secret where the money went. This guy, the same judge that's been drunk on the streets, we're
going to talk about
the same guy, he spent $1 million doing a forensic investigation of all the city's finances, every check that written, every penny that came in, paid an Atlanta forensic firm $1.2 million to do that. So, and it came up nothing. So what I'm saying is that the money went where the money was supposed to go, and that is to pay bills, pay salaries, to provide services, pick up garbage, keep recreation centers open, provide public safety, and things of that nature. That's where the money went.
I know, but you get what I'm saying?
It didn't go to me.
No, but you're bringing up that you went to these trips to get these countries to then put their interest in our city.
Yeah, we did.
And if we don't have anything to show for that, then that's why everybody's mad about the situation with the city.
Wait a minute, that's not the purpose of it. You're missing the point. When I went to Macon, France, 3 times, taxpayers' expense twice, one time on their dime. We didn't go to bring wine in the wine district, the Beaujolais region of France, I think the Beaujolais. But we didn't go to import wine. We went because we have a cultural, educational, and other relationship with Macon, France because of the name Macon. Any other reason?
That's all.
So we've sent several delegations there. We've had children to come here as exchange students. We have sent children there as exchange students. They come during our cherry blossom. We go to their festival. That's the nature of the Sister City program. It's not about an economic development issue.
I know, but I think the reason people are mad about what happened during, not everybody, let me just say, that people are mad about your reign, it was
because I went to Africa. Not because I went to Africa. Not because I went to Europe.
I agree.
Nobody ever.
I agree there's racism in
nobody never read, not this newspaper or anyone else had one peep when I went to Japan as many times.
I'm agreeing with you on part of that.
That's a fact.
I know there were people that were using the race card. I agree with that. But when you say you're going to bring money to this city by going to Ghana for the bus,
I never said that. I said that's a byproduct. I said that's a byproduct of it. When I established a relationship, they couldn't buy a horse. They didn't have money at the time. But because of the relationship we have, they can now purchase.
Right, but that's why people are mad that the money's gone, because
the money is gone.
What's the show for it?
So you're suggesting I spent $10 million in travel?
I'm telling you why people are questioning your terms.
People are uninformed.
Because if you start with 16.8 million, when you come in, you leave with 6 million.
Well, I just told you
people are wondering where that 11 million
I just explained. It went through a sales tax renegotiation.
But why did the city get something off of that deal? Why are we prospering now?
You asked me where did the money went. It went to pay salaries. It went to pick up your garbage, to provide a fire truck when you call. It went to E911.
And that wasn't happening before you were mayor? We didn't have a trash system before you were mayor?
That's where the money went. We spent the money to do those things without raising taxes, without laying off our people, and without reducing services.
Okay, explain the reason why and whether
I understand what he's saying.
Now, whether that was a good decision, maybe you can question. Maybe you can question the decision. Maybe I should have laid people off.
Well, I'm not saying that.
But I'm saying those are options that were on the table. I could have raised taxes.
Right.
I could have cut back. I said, we're not going to pick up garbage every week. We're going to pick it up every other week to cut costs. I elected not to.
Now, let me jump in.
Wants to know. I know. I'm not asking a question. I know. Vorpal Bite wants to know, are you a globalist? One of our chat.
I am a globalist.
And he disagrees with that. And then he wanted to ask you, what the hell's wrong with America? Why won't he improve this country?
Nothing wrong with America. America is part of a village now. We are all connected.
Yeah.
And probably the coffee you drink this morning could have been picked in Uganda. The cup you drink it out of probably was made in China. The clothes you put on your butt probably was made in Vietnam. The shoes you put on probably were made in Brazil. We are connected, whether we want to be or not.
Urban ask.
Okay. The question of relationship, and I appreciate that you brought that out, because that to me is what's lacking in the political body here in Macon. Like real relationships. Like one of the things I appreciate about you, Mr. Mayor, is you came in one day after you and I was pro-consolidation. Of course, it took me a while to get there, but I finally said, the hell with it. Less government is somewhat better at this point. Too many heads rolling around. And it was because of their relationships with each other. It wasn't because I didn't want a city council. I understood why they have 15 members, a history of that.
Well, that's your option. You know, we live in a country where you can be on opposite.
But one thing that I did appreciate about you is that I always say you're a man of the people. You kind of blend in. You're an everyman. You go in, you're biking, you talk to people. This is my town.
I was born and raised here. I remember the days when I couldn't walk in this place and have a conversation with this gentleman. Okay. I remember those days. So my roots run deep here. 3 generations back, great-grandfather was a slave.
And I know you looked me in the eye, you said you love this city.
So I don't plan on going in. I travel all over the world, but Macon, Georgia.
But here's my question. With all that said, you're a man of building relationships. That's the reason why he went to Africa and all that. He wasn't trying to look for money.
Well, you didn't live here when he was in office.
He gave the reason why
I think that's it. No, that's a red herring anyway, the whole Africa thing. If you really look at the money I spent going to Africa, I was sent to Africa twice by the State Department.
Right.
Once I led a delegation for the CDC where we did a big AIDS thing, because looking at urban America and how we could get the AIDS pandemic down as they were doing in Africa. For instance, Uganda went from a 30% prevalence rate down to a 6%, and that was what we call a best practice. So I was sent there, led a delegation of mayors, the mayor of Knoxville, the mayor of Minneapolis, and several others, mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. We all went, and I was head of delegation. delegation selected by the State Department, which I considered an honor to do. And we went there, stayed 5 days, and did our research, and came back and said, hey, there's some good programs. Maybe we can implement these throughout American cities. Made our report back to the State Department through the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Some of those suggestions were adopted. Some were not. I came home and said, okay, I want to use the ABC program as well. That's the program they have there. Other words, first of all, abstain. If you can't abstain, be faithful. If you can't do either one of those, use a condom. So I thought that was a very good program. I came back, held a press conference, and the media here turned it around and said, the mayor wants to give every high school kid and make it a condom. No, I don't. I want every high school kid that's sexually active to have a condom, because they are sexually active. If you don't believe it, look at the teen pregnancy rate in our town. So that's every time one of these kids have unprotected sex, it's either potentially a baby or an infection with HIV/AIDS, and we have to make sure that we be forthright and talk to them about that. We can't put our heads in the sand and say these kids are not sexually active. They are. If you don't believe it, go to the State Department, pull the statistics, look at the teen pregnancy rate. They didn't get, it's not some immaculate conception here. It came from them having sex.
You're in the fire line right here, Ellis. Mr. Jack Ellis. I got to. I know we got time. We got time, but we got to answer some of our chatters because they're giving you hell here. They think they're asking what are you doing for your city? You're talking about what you're doing for these other countries. But what are you doing for Macon?
I'm an investor in this city. I do all kind of. I don't always have a. I have a foundation that I do a lot of things with children, both here, the Caribbean, and Africa, places that I've lived, and I have my own street. I just bought a house in the in-town historic district that I've just restored. So I'm helping to uplift the city and work hard in my church. I contribute to several charities, go out and work hard, and all of us should do that. That's all we can do. I don't have to hold a press conference every time I...
well, naturally, not right now. He's not in office. Well, he doesn't owe anybody an explanation now.
Exactly.
Well, but they're asking this.
Right,
but they're asking this if you become mayor again, because if you do get another term...
Of course, I'm not focused. My focus.
Are you going to leave again?
All politics is local. Don't never forget that. All politics is local. Chip O'Neill said it then, it holds true then, it holds true now. So my focus will always be on my city, my place, but we have to think globally and we act locally. We're not in some cocoon here. Right. You have to go out and look at best practices and develop relationships. Wait a minute. But see, here's the thing. We got a $20 million Hope 6 grant to rebuild Oktober homes. That didn't just happen. That was because I went to D.C. and built relationships with an assistant secretary of housing and urban development. I built the relationship.
And I do want to bring up some good things I think you did do.
Within the Clinton Foundation in its last waning years. So we did our homework and we went and brought money. I brought over $100 million worth of federal dollars in this time.
And I appreciated one thing you did do also is that you did go back to the music, the impact of music on this city. I very much appreciated when you brought James Brown here. Yes. I went to that concert, that free concert right outside City Hall.
We're going to do more.
That was a great show.
We're going to do more. And some people at the Cherry Blossom Festival, is it maybe get too big?
And I stood by you on that. I stood by him on that. I stood by that he was.
And we need to do it again.
He was doing that for the music.
We need to do
for the city. That was needed.
He need to do it again.
I commend you on that.
Had I been in office, the Music Hall of Fame would not have left this city.
That
we have to keep. That we had to keep. They're making Braves. Okay, that they can go. But the music, we have to.
Sports fans, man.
Yeah, I mean, to make a Braves wanted $18 million for me to build a stadium for them. Who in their right mind?
They didn't want to do it for the Olympics.
Hey, but wait a minute. AOL Time Warner owns at that time the Braves.
Yes.
A multi-billion-dollar corporation. Why would we take a small city with a $100 million budget and give them $18 million? Didn't make any sense.
This is your choice. This was your choice, and I don't want to dive into your faith. But why did you, I guess, become a member of Islam and change your name?
Well, I never changed my name.
You never did?
Never.
So that never happened?
I never changed my name.
Where did I hear that? That was all over
the
news.
I was given a name when I converted to Islam in Dakar, in Senegal, in the country of West Africa, where many, Gorée Island, where many of the enslaved Africans were sent to another port of debarkation.
So
imam, the supreme
they honored
imam
you with
there,
that name.
honored
Okay.
me by giving me
great.
giving me
And
that
so-
name.
and so
As
you-
in Uganda, and this is a Christian, primarily Christian country, they have given me a name, Sakito, because that's part of the Buganda kingdom, which was, and Sakito was a great grandson of a great king of the kingdom Buganda way back when, so they gave me that name in the ceremony.
Right.
And in Ghana, they gave me a name, Okwezi, because I was
Wow.
born on Sunday.
Man
so
of
when
many
you're
names.
when you're
Yes.
but when you're born in that
Also,
country,
okay,
everybody's born on that day.
Right.
It has a Kwezi. So you'll find a million Kwezi. Whenever you hear somebody named Kwezi, you know they were born
Right.
on
Right.
on